Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and yes, another day, another Knicks report regarding this Donovan Mitchell trade that's been dragging on for too long. In my opinion, let's just get the deal done if it's going to happen or not, right? But in this video, we have an interesting report from SNY's Ian Begely talking about some Knicks decision makers are open to including RJ Barrett in a trade for Donovan Mitchell. Now, this is really interesting because last month in July, we saw a report from Ian Begely himself saying that RJ Barrett is untouchable and he is absolutely going nowhere. And according to this article that I'll leave down below in the description if you guys want to read it for yourselves, Ian Begely reports that the mindset has changed within the Knicks organization, and there are a lot of voices in the front office, so it's not like the entire Knicks wants to trade RJ Barrett, but there are some people making their voice heard saying that I'd be open to moving RJ Barrett if that means Donovan Mitchell comes to the Knicks. That does not mean that Leon Rose is open to doing it. It does not mean it's actually going to happen, but according to Ian Begely, who is a very valuable source with the New York Knicks, this could potentially happen, RJ Barrett being included in a Donovan Mitchell trade. So this video, I want to give you guys my thoughts of this hypothetical scenario of RJ Barrett being included in the deal for Donovan Mitchell. If you guys know me and you watch my YouTube channel, you know that this is not the report I want to be talking about because RJ Barrett is, in my opinion, the future of this team, and I don't feel like trading him would be necessary. I always felt like you trade for Donovan Mitchell to pair him up with RJ Barrett. You don't trade RJ Barrett away for Donovan Mitchell. You try to do whatever it takes to bring Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks to pair him up with a young ascending star in RJ Barrett, not vice versa. That's really where I stand on this. So let's get right into the article. But before we do that, I just want to mention, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of Knicks content coming your way leading up until training camp. And of course, if you guys enjoy the video, please do not forget to hit that thumbs up button. And of course, feel free to comment down below your thoughts, where you stand on this article and this report saying that RJ Barrett could potentially be on the move to the Utah Jazz. Is RJ Barrett untouchable in your eyes, or are you okay with giving up RJ Barrett? You don't really feel like he's worth a contract extension, and you feel like Donovan Mitchell is so good to the point where I don't care about RJ. Get him off the team. Or do you feel like RJ Barrett, like me, is the future of this team, and you don't want to get rid of him because he's only going to get better and better? He's 22 years old and has so much upside, and then everything about RJ just screams a New York Knicks franchise player, and that's where I stand. So let me know where you guys stand down below in the comment section. Love to read each and every one of the comments because you guys have awesome takes and opinions down below. With that being said, let's get into the article. So the headliner is what I read earlier. Some Knicks decision makers open to including RJ in a trade for Donovan. Getting into the deep of the article, a few notes on Knicks and Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks are among several teams with interest in trading for Mitchell. The Cavaliers have touched base with Utah about a Mitchell trade in recent days per SNY sources. Cleveland's level of interest in Mitchell is unknown, but the Cavaliers have the young players in the picks to put together a competitive package. The Wizards and Hornets are among other teams interested, as The Athletic reported. From a Knicks perspective, the club can offer the strongest package for Mitchell. Utah knows this, and the Knicks knows this. So this trade is essentially the Knicks' trade to lose. I felt like that was interesting. New York is among the teams who have been in touch with Utah recently. The Jazz continue to have strong interest in Knicks' wing, RJ Barrett. Evan Fournier's name has also come in trade discussions. The Jazz are seeking a multiple first-round picks. Utah would want at least one of the trio of Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes, and Emmanuel Quickley in a trade if Barrett is included. Now that is interesting because this little snippet of this article says that the Utah Jazz would want one of these three players on top of adding RJ Barrett. So you're saying RJ Barrett plus one of Quickley, Grimes, and Obi? I don't know about that. Where do you stand? Where do the Knicks stand on including Barrett in the deal? Last month, SNY reported that people in touch with the Knicks early in free agency were under the impression that the club had no interest in trading RJ Barrett. The stance has shifted. Some New York Knicks decision makers are open to including Barrett in a trade for Mitchell. It's worth pointing out here that there are several voices of influence in the organization, so it makes sense that there would be different opinions among decision makers in New York. For what it's worth, here's my opinion. So here's Ian Begley's opinion on it. Team president Leon Rose obviously will make the ultimate call on a trade. Regardless of how the negotiations play out, the Mitchell situation seems too good for New York to pass on. Some with the Knicks see the Mitchell acquisition as a strong pathway to another star, most likely via trade, as the New York Post noted. Adding another star to a core that includes Mitchell and Brunson would presumably make New York a solid contender. If the Knicks do not trade for Mitchell, what is the next opportunity to add a young all-star to the roster? It will be a better opportunity than the one right in front of them. Some with the organization believe the best approach is to wait until the season starts and then revisit a Donovan Mitchell trade. The thinking is that Utah's leverage will decrease during the season, but that approach also gives teams like the Cavaliers, who has a lot of interest, increase their chance to get a big offer and outbid New York. So there's a big risk involved if the Knicks are waiting. I don't think the Knicks can afford taking that risk. They stockpiled first and second round picks and young players so they could be in a trade conversation for the disgruntled stars. They've been conservative in the past offseason, trade deadlines, waiting for the right opportunity. The opportunity is right here. So excellent article from Ian Begely of SNY. We all know that he is probably the best Knicks insider if I had to guess. So if you guys want to check out this article, I'll leave it down below in the description. But my biggest takeaways from this is, number one, that Ian Begely reported earlier in July during free agency that there's no player, RJ Barrett is untouchable and they're not looking to trade him. And then all of a sudden, now we're at the end of August and some people within the Knicks organization are open to moving RJ Barrett. Now, again, this does not mean that the entire front office is agreed upon of doing this move. That just means there's some people voicing their opinions about this potential of RJ Barrett being moved. And I do like the idea that Ian Begely brings up is, could the Knicks wait until the season begins and let Donovan Mitchell stay on the Utah Jazz because his value will decrease throughout the season, which is true, but there's a big-time risk involved if you do that because a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, who came out of nowhere, who's interested, has a lot of young talent and they have a lot of draft picks, even though I still think that the New York Knicks can put together a better trade package, but then all of a sudden you're giving the Cleveland Cavaliers an opportunity to outbid our package. So, all in all, I mean, this video is all about RJ Barrett. I think it would be an absolute big mistake if you have to give up RJ Barrett plus one of Obi Toppin, Grimes, and Quickly. That's telling me that the Knicks are really sacrificing the young core of this franchise, and they're really trying to set up this team to just be about Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and I don't know. I would not do that. I feel like if you're going to get Donovan Mitchell, you have to make sure that RJ Barrett stays on the New York Knicks and you give him that extension because you want to maintain the young assets that you build, right? When is the last time the New York Knicks have drafted a player and developed them into their own star to be the face of the franchise? It's been way too long. Mitchell Robinson was the first player since 1990s since the Knicks have gave their own draft pick a second contract. That's ridiculous. RJ Barrett deserves that. Mitchell Robinson was a second-round pick. He gets paid, and now he is the starting center for the future. Absolutely love that. We draft RJ Barrett in the 3rd overall pick. His rookie season, he has a decent rookie year, not the best rookie season. Year number 2, he takes a big jump. Year number 3, he takes an even bigger jump. I know that there's a lot that RJ still needs to work on in his game, especially when it comes to efficiency and shooting the ball from the field, but I still feel like RJ Barrett is an ascending player, only 22 years old, and he is everything you want in a Knicks franchise guy that you draft high with the 3rd overall pick. His demeanor, his personality, his leadership, his ability to handle the New York media, his ability to just, understand what's necessary, putting the work in. He's just a class act, and he's exactly the type of guy that you want to be the representative of this Knicks franchise. Even though if we trade for Donovan Mitchell, it's going to be Donovan Mitchell's team, obviously, but RJ Barrett is still going to be that guy that we drafted and developed for the long run. That's what this Knicks team needs to be about, is drafting players, developing players, and then acquiring stars with that young core. I feel like it would be a big mistake if RJ Barrett gets traded in this scenario. I'd be pretty upset, but then Donovan Mitchell will be on the Knicks, so I'll probably get over it. But at the end of the day, if I'm the Knicks and the Utah Jazz are saying they want RJ Barrett, I'm saying absolutely not. I'm saying no, we're going to have to give you a couple extra unprotected firsts if that means we're getting Donovan Mitchell. But yeah, that's really where I stand on this situation. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, I'm dead against giving up RJ Barrett. I think that'll be a big time mistake because I think his potential in this league is really through the roof, and I feel like him with Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson and Grimes and Quickly, potentially if they stay on the team, if we get Donovan Mitchell, would be a really fun team to watch, especially for the long run. You want to pair up RJ and Mitchell so they can be the dynamic duo for the future of this Knicks organization. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Please don't forget to like the video if you guys did not already. It really helps out the video a ton, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Let's go Knicks. Peace out.